All right. All right. Let's see. Oh, let me get the music playing. It was almost the music was almost quiet enough that I couldn't hear anything. So I turned the volume up on. I believe it should just be my end, so it shouldn't be as loud as it was during the last stream. Let me go ahead and drop some notifications to my friends, letting them know I'm streaming. Make sure that's muted. And then just a second to configure the video. Okay. That should be good. And last time I decided I was actually going to start getting a little bit more comfortable with using the autofocus of the camera, so we're going to give that a shot. Just see if it doesn't end up freaking out. Also tested out changing up the setup for my camera, and I think I might have made things a little screwy. So expect me to do spend a lot of time tweaking things on here. Because I don't actually remember what I did to change anything on here. There we go. I think that's good. Can I mess with the contrast and stuff? Oh, I can. That's weird. I usually am not able to. What's the saturation situation like? That looks about right. All right. Almost forgot to start recording as well. That way I can get for the time lapse videos a bit better quality. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and start working on the inking of some of this stuff because I think I've got enough of the general layout and textures, or yeah, textures. Some of the patterns that I want to go with. Enough to at least get started on this. Trying to think if there's any other preparations I need to make. I've just finished eating dinner, so I had to take some time to get that. I'm gonna start up here. Okay. Yep, this is my good pen. Started watching a couple videos about some methods of inking. I've been inking my own drawings for a while, and I kind of wanted to make sure I wasn't getting too lost. I heard a tip that kind of like threw things all out of loop, and kind of just like I started to realize like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Just a general tip of like things that are further away should have thinner lines, and things that are closer to the screen should have thicker lines. I kind of went insane with that knowledge, and I kind of just forgot how to ink altogether. Kind of like Bloodborne, forbidden knowledge of the gods. Um, it started throwing off all my drawings. The autofocus is messing with things, isn't it? Hello, autofocus over here. Okay, you are no longer allowed to choose for yourself. I am the camera operator now. There we go. But now after that, I decided to just look up a bunch more videos, get a bunch of different artists' perspective on like how they ink. And now I'm a little bit more confident in how I'm doing things. I for sure need to take things a lot more slower in my inking. But I was getting a little lost in what degree do I need to like make things thicker or thinner. Basically, with the tip that ended up bringing me back down to earth was that interior lines should typically be smaller, and for at least comic book art, it is normal to uh, have things bold along the borders of people or more important objects, just to define them a little better, separate them from the background. Which is originally just without any kind of teaching. That's exactly what I did. I kind of always use thicker lines just to separate things. But then once I watched one video that told me to make things bolder in the front, I started using like really fat lines on just like anything that was towards the camera. Which I mean is still what you want to do, but I think it's combined with some of the older methods I had that will actually like end up improving it. Mhm. No, I got a good camera angle, like, and I just realized that it completely blocks my actual vision of what I'm doing. Come on. Oh, goodness. I need I needed to zoom out a little bit. The pen was hitting the camera almost every single time I made a mark. How's the focus? Oh, the focus is still alright. All right. It's a binging with Babishon. I haven't heard this in a while. Binging with Babish. I don't even cook, but I watch those videos so often. I'm just there for the voice. There you go. Some very basic and crude brick details. There. I'm gonna be adding more texture to these buildings once I get like some of the more just basic line work worked on there. Wow. Next, where are we gonna go? Let's just do the street a little bit. Interesting. I never noticed that part of this. If this camera could stay, I'd really appreciate it. There we go. Awesome. I keep forgetting not to get too close. I keep hitting the camera. It hurts my soul every time I touch it. I want these stones on the cobblestone street to be very loose and uneven, just like kind of haphazardly thrown together. Feels appropriate for a road. Gives it a little bit more of a grungier, dirtier feel. There we go. I think that's majority of this Notre Dame side of the drawing. But I'm going to keep adding more because that's how my brain works. I think I want to try doing some of the texture of the squid arms, let's call them. Well, I mean, it's definitely an octopus because the squid have the pointy heads. But we're going to call them squid arms because you're not the boss of me. And like I said, I do think I still want to try going for a black and white drawing. So I'm going to try to put a little bit more effort than normal into doing a bunch of interesting things to make the line work stand out with different textures and stuff. So that's what I'm thinking of, like greasy black tentacles. Just real nasty looking tentacles. Okay. I got some of the nasty looking tentacles all textured out. Let me see. I want to fix the focus a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to be adding some kind of like smoke to like shroud some things around the middle over here. If my camera works, terrible. Around the middle over here. And just, general spots of like a little fog and smoke billowing out of these chimneys. And just the higher and higher we get. Yeah. Then we can get around to a little bit more of the actual texture of like some of the stone and detailing out some of these areas. Maybe we'll see. I kind of like that it's just like little patches of stone. You kind of just like generally in your head make out the rest of it. Maybe I could do some of the texture with some shading, where you see a little bit more of the pattern. We'll have to see when we come to it. Then we also got that guy, that lad over there. He's gonna be interesting when we get to him. Still only halfway through with today's stream, so we'll have time. We'll see how far we get. I'll try. If I'm not able to get to him before it, we'll save that for the next stream because I'm not. That's probably one of the more exciting parts to get into. So right back into this. This one doesn't feel like it's going to be as intensive as the last one. For whatever reason, I assumed a bunch of buildings just thrown together willy-nilly would be a lot more tough than flowers, but alas, that doesn't seem to be the case. Trying to fix the camera, sorry. Get it somewhere a little bit closer where I like it to be. Sorry, I got some text I want to take a peek at real quick, just to make sure I'm not missing anything important. Next Thursday. What's going on next Thursday? Am I doing anything next Thursday? It's going to be the day before I head to New York. I'm pretty sure my New York trip isn't going to interrupt things. Let me double check. Oh, I will be in New York. Oops. All right, so yeah, next Tuesday I won't be able to. Ooh, hold on. Let me go ahead and triple check that. So the 20th, yeah, the 20th is when I'm going to be out. So next week's gonna be fine. Next week's we're still gonna be streaming. But the week after that, so it's just the 20th. Let's just leave it at that. I'm gonna be out of state, and I'm pretty excited because I've never been to New York. Can't wait to see all the rats, the humanoid rats, the turtles in ninja costumes. It's gonna be great. New York, New York. I wonder who's got the better homeless, in Los Angeles or New York. Am I on camera? Okay, just make sure. To be completely honest, I'm not in a good mood right now as far as streaming, but I felt the need to be here anyways. I should at least try. Because overall, I still have fun when I'm doing this. No matter what I'm doing, as long as I'm drawing, I'm in a happy place. But today was kind of a little crowded. Even with 6:30, which is, like reasonably late for me. It feels like I have to cram things together in order to get things to fit. That's why I had to start the stream, and the first 10 minutes was just me tweaking things. But then again, that's always how it is. Even on days where I'm on firing on all cylinders. Trying not to get too psyched out of my own head. Just like I've talked about every time before. Gotta learn to shut that part of my head out. Put it in a full Nelson. Just tell it to be quiet so I can actually get some drawing done. I didn't plan for this building to have a texture, but it feels like it needs it. I want to remain consistent in doing these streams. This should be the last one of my tattoo quote-unquote streams before I decide on which one I like. Honestly, this one's coming out exactly kind of how I imagined it being. I'm really glad that I've gotten to the point where, like, the things that come up in my head, I can actually put down on paper pretty accurately. Whenever I have, like, concepts or ideas I want to work out, like, I can do a pretty solid job of actually getting them down on paper. So whenever I had this idea of Bloodborne, I had exactly this image of tentacles and smoke and gothic architecture and everything being at an off angle. Even if there weren't that many specifics on what I was going for, it still came out pretty darn close to exactly what I was imagining. That little amorphous blob of idea I had, I managed to crank it out. And then once I get this third one done, I can decide which one I like. I think even when I was doing the concept, I was pretty confident I was gonna get the Swamp Murder tattoo because that's the one where I put the most thought behind it. But I'm trying to not let it be outshined. Like I'm not gonna take this one less seriously just because I decided I like the other one better. This is still like an idea I want to stand on its own 2 feet, even if it's not going to be the one that's permanently tattooed on me. May not be the favorite, but it still has the right to stand on its own 2 feet. Ooh, popping my back bones. Oh, wait a second. Why is this light in the completely wrong spot? Huh. I just had one of my lights just pointing directly in my face and I was ignoring it. Now everything's so much brighter. Let me adjust some of the... Yeah, much better. I have to move this one light occasionally to get around my own room. It's a very small space. This is a building where it's like completely surreal, and it's like very in your face that this is not a real building. This is some kind of warped, uh, surreal dream building because it is just parts are just not matching up. It's at an angle that could not exist, at a size that would definitely crumble. That's kind of just like the if it wasn't clear by like some of the other buildings in the background, this one should make it clear that's like nothing. Something's definitely wrong. Perfect. Literally flawless. Hi there. I'm doing all right. Um, little stressed out, but overall I'm doing good. How are you doing? Well, hi. Um, yeah, I'm working on this tattoo that's going to kind of mostly inspired by Bloodborne, like very heavily inspired by Bloodborne. I it's one of my favorite games of all time, so I just want to make something that's kind of very reminiscent to some of the things you'll see in the game. Just right now working on some of the inks. I think this is going to be a very ink heavy tattoo where it's just me getting a lot of the details and textures done. It's just for myself. No, I think a lot of artists get like if they draw out in the open like I do, they get a lot of people that will tell them that they need to be a tattoo artist or this or that. And I decided that maybe it's time for me to draw one for myself. Because I like tattoos. It's never been something I wanted to do for myself, but at least designing like an idea for myself rather than just picking one up off the wall. And since I'm so picky, I decided to just work on it myself. So this is the third concept that I've done, and I'm going to be deciding which of the three I like the best. Kind of already leaning on which one I like the best bet. We'll see when everything's done. Trying to add all these lines to make things look a little bit more heavily in shadow and gloomy, so you can kind of do a better job of telling that things are separate from others. Or at least that's what I'm going for. If it's not showing through, then that's fine too. I'm trying something different than what I usually do. This is very much what I wanted this one to be the one tattoo that's kind of better in black and white. I'm not sure how well that'll come through. I've always wanted to get like a full sleeve done. uh since like it's been something that I've always like liked from afar. I've always thought just a solid sleeve looks really nice, so that's always what I've pictured myself having in like these pictures of myself I have of who I am in my head. This one's gonna be a little bit tough. I'm not blocking the camera, am I? I don't think so. There you go. I really appreciate that. Not exactly sure what a Craigasm is, but I imagine it's good. If it's not, then I'll just accept it. I'm gonna end up using all the ink in this pen. By the power invested in me, I swear to God, I will use all this ink. Now I know I definitely am covering everything, but I need to for this part. Ooh, I'm not even on camera, am I? Hold on, let me lower this. Oh, I see now. It's the emote. I don't know why it didn't show up on my chat, but it does. The emote does show up on the stream, so everything's good. And I hit the microphone. So how are we looking from afar? Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of line art, so it's gonna take a while. So let's go back up here for a little while. Please stop spinning, camera. There we go. And I'll fix the focus for a second. There we go. I'm gonna have to move this cord. Man, why does cord always get in the way? Yeah, a lot of the time whenever I get into drawing anything, as soon as I make a decision on how I want to tackle it, like me deciding I wanted to do all these inks, there is that part of my brain that's just like, hey, you're gonna ruin it. Like literally, like every single stroke I make, my brain is like, you're ruining it. You're doing something bad. You're messing this up. Everybody's gonna hate it. But I kind of just have to learn how to shut that part of my brain down. Because usually, if I kind of just ignore it for long enough, whenever I finish the piece, it ends up looking a lot better than I ever thought it would. So I've learned like not to trust that part of my brain. It's not very helpful for me. Especially when it comes to like coloring anything. Like watercolors was a medium I had a lot of trouble with, and I would always think I'm ruining it. Like every step I think was the worst step I've ever made. But if you just hush it up a little for long enough, you can usually get something pretty nice done. Might not be exactly what you were going for, but at least it's nowhere near as bad as you imagine it to be. Thank you. Really appreciate you subscribing. I do these every Tuesday at 6:30, and I try to keep pretty consistent on these. I think I've only had to miss one stream. I think slowly I'm going to be transitioning after these tattoo themed drawings into more request based drawings, or just getting something, like something that's less structured and is something a little bit more freeform where I can stop do whatever I feel like doing. I do have polls set up eventually, but I'm not exactly sure how to erase polls once they're done. So I'm still tweaking that idea. Eventually, I want to get to the point where people can suggest what I do every time I finish one drawing, and then they can suggest the next one. But we're working on it. Thanks. Yeah, like check out any of my other stuff. I post these as full streams on YouTube. I make time lapses for each video, and I also got my Instagram on there, my DeviantArt. If you want, just check it out in your own time whenever you want to see more of my stuff. I'd really appreciate it. I think a lot of my attitude as an artist is just like impatient. I'm probably the least patient artist you'll ever see. I don't like slowing down for like anything. Probably just because like if I slow down for too long, my brain that part of my brain just starts going off, telling me that I need to fix this or that. I think these streams are like the most patient I'll ever be. But when it's just work for myself, it is just whatever mess comes out of my work, I'm okay with it because it's just for me. But whenever I'm on these streams, I actually do take it a little bit more seriously. And I hope that it shows through. Yeah, I have one of them's just like full stream archives, and then the other one's for time lapses. Just depending on exactly which one you'd like to take part in. One of them is mainly just to archive them, so I can have a place to find them if I ever lose them, because I know that Twitch like deletes them every 2 weeks or whatever. I think they like let videos stay for 2 weeks or something like that. Then I have the other one, which is more actually just the highlights or the time lapse videos that I make. Nothing fancy. I haven't. I've only recently started editing videos, but it's just I crammed all the 2 hours of the stream into like 10 minutes, so you can see the work that I'm doing without having to sit through all the quiet spots or the parts where I have to adjust the camera and focus. But if you want those moments where I'm just fixing the camera, then you have this full stream archive. Just a little bit of both. I want people to kind of. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and I kind of like it when I have the ability to choose exactly how I want to follow some people, because I love a lot of chances, but sometimes it is hard to watch like the full 2 hour streams. Like there's a lot of people I have to keep up with, and I'm not able to do that. So I'll also have a channel where it's just the highlight, just the more important bits to catch. What song's playing? Hold on. I got weirded out by the track that was playing. I had to fix that. I actually, yeah, I do digital art. I do. Um, I do digital art as well, but I'm very slow with it. I'm still trying to get to the point where I can make pieces fairly regularly. I think I might transition into doing that right after I'm done with these tattoos, just to give myself some more time to work on to get things ready. Um, but yeah, it just takes me a long time to actually work on it. But I do like how they turn out. I think I do pretty good with digital art. I mean, it's not to get too uh, b- big of an ego, but I think I do pretty well. It's just it takes so much time for me. but I do already have it set up on my stream. So if I want to transition it into doing digital art, I can do that. Traditional is just where I've I started doing all my work, so that's what I'm most comfortable with. I only started doing this like a month or two ago, so still I started with my comfort zone, and we're going to be transitioning into some of the more experimental aspects of my art. Oh yeah, sure. Whenever I yeah get around to it, I'll be yapping away about the things that I've learned about it. The one thing that you probably won't get any help from me with is I don't know how to do masks very well, and I understand that that's like a huge part of like a lot of people's digital art, but for some reason it just something about it just does not click with me, and I can't understand how it works whatsoever. But otherwise, yeah, I will absolutely we would love to talk about digital art sometime. I think the only aspect of masks that I understand is like pass through layers, and that's like a vague understanding. I know it's a thing. I've done it occasionally, and that's about as far as I get. I do love it's how insanely flexible everything is in digital though. Just like the ability to scaling is one thing that I have a lot of trouble with. The scaling of well, I mean just all of my pieces. Once get an idea in my head of what size a head is, what size an arm is, I'm locked into there and I can't change that at all. But in digital art, if you actually can, and that's just so nice. That's easily probably my favorite part of digital art, besides the smooth coloring and all the texture brushes and this and that. Like just being able to fix a head that's too big after you've already done the work is just awesome. I love it. Yeah, like my anatomy is so much easier to fix when I'm there in the moment. Oh, I noticed you just followed me on Instagram. Thank you for that. Yeah, layering is I think it's a little bit easier if you're into watercolors because I mentioned that watercolors were something I had a lot of trouble with, but they eventually became like my go-to medium for a long time. And so like the idea of like getting layers actually like is very easy to understand from my perspective because that's kind of it's a lot of layering in watercolor as well. Like you put colors on top of the other color, and like the combination of the layers is what ends up being the final product. But yeah, layering is also one of those tools where it's just like it's hard to get that with most of the other mediums you work with, and it's very useful. It's getting hot in my room. I've used Photoshop a little bit, but never for digital art really. I took a Photoshop class, and it's such a good program, but it's so expensive, especially since digital art is such a it's something that I don't really do too often. So kind of justifying paying that much with a medium that I don't use that often is really hard for me. So like it's not like my pen and inks. My pen and inks, I always be using those. These microns are abused. Go right ahead. I don't mind. My brain kind of froze for a minute there. Stop spinning, please. Please. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to fight with this camera. Me and this camera aren't gonna be friends. No, I just noticed we're gonna be in. The stream's gonna be in soon. I think I'm gonna just finish this little tip of the building over here. Then we're gonna call it a day. I'm gonna start working on the little sketch on the side. Oops, that was not right. All right. I think that's kind of all we're going to be doing for today. I mean, I got like a majority of the inking done, so I think we did pretty well. And like I said, I'm going to save that giant squid guy for next stream because I know that's going to be very exciting for me to get into. But yeah, let me fix the focus real quick so we can see more of it. My camera's crooked for some reason and I can't fix that. I'm going to end up bending the metal just to get a proper camera angle. Hang on. And I'll fix the focus. I'll be good. Come on, which way? There it is. Come on. There it is. Perfect. So that's what we got going on so far. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. See? I just got to shut up that part of my brain that's always doubting myself. And eventually it actually comes out pretty solid. It comes pretty close to exactly what I got going on in my head. I think there's still some work to be done. I still got to get this street, some of the exact same shading, maybe some more texture on the bricks, and some more spots of like pure black. That way you can differentiate between different parts of buildings a little bit better. But I like having the very, very fine lines done first, and then we get into the thicker blacks. That probably waste a lot of time, but I don't mind. What are we gonna do? You know, plan ahead. I'm never gonna plan ahead. That's. Let's finish with drawing a little dude. Let's see. Is this on camera? Because the last one I accidentally didn't do on camera. I'm actually in a much better mood than when I started. I'm very pleased with how this came out, so I'm gonna do a smiling guy with my favorite paintbrush, brush pen. He's a very happy lad. So happy. He is bald though. You know, it's just how the dice rolls. But he's happy about it. You know, he's fine. He's good. He's okay with who he is. Kind of looks like a monkey. But he's okay with that. Look how happy he is. He's okay with looking like a monkey. Mm-hmm. There he is. The lad. The happy little lad. All right. So next week we're gonna be doing finishing up the inks. Yeah, I kind of went through all that. Every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern American time. I don't know if that's what I'm gonna call it. But yeah, 6:30, and it's I usually keep these streams as around 2 hours. Very glad for everybody who could join. Those who were quiet and those who weren't. Who just I appreciate anybody taking the time out of the day to check out these streams. So thank you. Have a great night.